Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Tuesday Namaste session. We are low in numbers here on the live version of Namaste. We have a lot of people who are gone, but we know that wherever we are there. Okay, that didn't quite work. Let me try again. I am here wherever I am. Does that make more sense? I am here. I am here, present, right now, no matter what. That seems to hit it. I think the whole idea is wherever I am, there I am. Or something like that. We'll just leave it at that. But one thing I know for sure is that wherever I am is where the adventure is. And that's what today's daily word is all about. The title of the daily word today is I live my life as a continuous adventure. I live my life as a continuous adventure. So let's see if we can understand what that means, not just on the outer level, but what does that mean on the inner level? Because it's not so much adventures that we go on, taking a trip, going to some strange place, doing some amazing thing. That's fine. We've all done that. But there's another much deeper adventure, and it is much deeper. That's the real adventure. So we're going to sing this song this morning as a way of getting our juices flowing. Once again, I live my life as a continuous adventure. I'll sing it a couple times, then you can join me. I live my life as a continuous adventure, a continuous adventure. I live my life. I live my life as a continuous adventure, a continuous adventure. I live my life. Sing that with me. I live my life as a continuous adventure, a continuous adventure. I live my life. I live my life as a continuous adventure, a continuous adventure. I live my life. In the past, I was so afraid. I was so afraid to live the life I deserve. But today, I will start again. I will start again and seek only to serve. Okay, here we go again. I live my life as a continuous adventure, a continuous adventure. I live my life. I live my life as a continuous adventure, a continuous adventure. I live my life. I am whole and so holy now, and I've one desire, but to share the same, for it's in giving alone that I do receive, and I do believe it's the reason I came. Here we go. I live my life as a continuous adventure, a continuous adventure. I live my life. I live my life as a continuous adventure, a continuous adventure. I live my life. I live my life as a continuous adventure, a continuous adventure. I live my life. Yes, I live my life as a continuous adventure. spend a moment just holding still within that energy, that electricity of life as a continuous adventure. And so from today's daily word, our word is adventurous. I live my life as a continuous adventure. In the past, I may have felt scared to try new things, feeling intimidated about looking foolish or feeling frustrated about not doing something well. But today I take a new approach and see trying new things as an adventure. Life is meant to be lived fully, even if it means taking some risks. With an adventurous spirit, I open my mind to the possibilities around me. I step out of my self-imposed boundaries and welcome new experiences. I may join a club or take a class, learn to play a musical instrument. But more than that, I am welcoming a change in attitude within myself. I see myself deserving of growth, fun, and a life full of color and energy. With courage and fortitude, I declare, I love to try new things. I am adventurous. And from the prophet Isaiah, see, the former things have come to pass, and new things I now declare. Before they spring forth, I tell you of them. Before they spring forth, I tell you of them. So let's sing that chant one more time. I live my life as a continuous adventure, a continuous adventure. I live my life. I live my life as a continuous adventure, a continuous adventure. I live my life. I live my life as a continuous adventure, a continuous adventure. I live my life. I live my life as a continuous adventure, a continuous adventure. I live my life. I live my life. I love the fact that the lesson says a continuous adventure. Most of us were told that you can go off and have an adventure, and that usually means leaving whatever you would normally do behind and doing something much more exciting. Maybe you're going to go on some kind of a trip, or even go on a zip line through the jungle, or whatever it may be. But it means leaving where you are now, who you are now. And that's where the adventure begins, leaving your ordinary world. But what if it has nothing to do with that? What if the real adventure is happening right now? And all we need to do is to tune into it. And when we do tune into it, there's something so exciting that is happening within us that anything on the outside, any outer adventure, pales in comparison. That's what I have found. I was thinking yesterday as I was reading this, well, what are some of the great adventures? If I could list some of the really amazing adventures that I've been on in my life, what would they be? Well, I remember 1995 when I first decided to begin traveling to war zones to share the peace concert. And I went to Bosnia and Croatia while the war was going there, went to Sarajevo, uh, had my experience with the emissaries of light. That was one of the great adventures of my life. It was tremendous, opened up a whole new world. Or I was thinking also about a few years later when Saddam Hussein invited me to come to Iraq and to perform the peace concert at the same time that we were getting ready to begin another bombing campaign against the Iraqi people. And there didn't seem to be any hope of any sort of peaceful resolution. And yet we put out the call, and literally millions of people stopped what they were doing at a given time while I was doing the concert there and prayed for peace. And everything shifted from that moment on. And just a couple of days later, a peace accord was signed. So I could look at all sorts of adventures like that. I've been very lucky to have led a very outer adventurous life. But if you were to ask me what the greatest adventure would be, it would not be one of those. It would not be going to some war-torn area to do concerts or to meet people or to bring peace. I've had a lot of those and they were great, but that's not the real adventure. The real adventure is happening right now. Every time I choose to open up my heart, every time I choose to step beyond fear and to realize that I am love, every time I do that, a new adventure unfolds. And because it's unfolding within me, it must also unfold outside of me. It has its effect in the world that I perceive, in my relationships, in my community, in what I share. People will feel it. People will see it. They'll respond to it in whatever way they're ready to respond to it. And then maybe they'll realize that there is a similar adventure, the adventure of consciousness that is taking place within them. And anyone who has been on that adventure knows that there is nothing out here that could ever compare to it. And there's nothing that takes more energy. There's nothing that takes more, really anything, than the willingness to advance into this adventure of knowing that I am whole, I am perfect, I am still as I was created. That there's nothing that I could see. I thought I went off on a different kind of adventure. I thought that I went off on an adventure of separation. That was the great adventure. Maybe that's how it all started. I know that I am whole. I know that I am complete. And yet, let's go off an adventure where we forget that. Let's see if we can create a world that is the opposite of that, where we do compete, where we're alone and isolated and separate from one another. What would that be like? Well, guess what? It sucks. It's not the fun that I thought it was going to be. Because what happens is when we begin from that premise, it begins to just escalate. And so it's impossible to look at the world, the outer world, if I'm choosing to be on that adventure. It's impossible to look at the outer world and not see that same separation and discord everywhere. And if you're not seeing it on that level, you're just not looking at it. However, and here's the key, when I choose to engage on the true adventure within myself, the adventure of awakening, the adventure of remembering that all of that was impossible, that there is only one power in the universe, and that power is the power of God, or the power of love. When I remember that and I engage in that direction or that adventure, then the world that I perceive shifts to correspond with that decision. I've seen this many times in some of the war zones that I've traveled to, thinking that I was going, say, for example, to Iraq, thinking that I was going to engage the so-called enemy, or these people who would see me as the enemy, or whatever it might be. I remember being a little nervous, but I stayed centered and I stayed within myself, and I went as I have to many other countries. And what I found was not people who were unlike me or people who didn't like me. I found people who were just like me, who were ready to love, ready to see us as one and peace at peace. I'll never forget, I've said this many times, how after this big concert that I did there in Baghdad, uh, the group of the organizers, it was me and two other ladies, one from England and one from Bosnia. And we went to this party that they threw, and we sat there singing Simon and Garfunkel songs all night long with this feast. And that was an adventure, but it was an adventure that came from within. It was an adventure that came from the decision to join with these so-called separate individuals who were my supposed enemy. But you know what? The holiest place on earth is what? Is where? Say it a little louder.
Where hatred is forgiven.
Where a former hatred, what are the exact words? Where a former hatred an ancient hatred has become a present love. That's it. The holiest place on earth is where an ancient hatred has become a present love. Isn't that the real adventure? To see that, to allow that. So yes, we are on this great adventure, but it's important for us to realize that we could be sitting in our room and during COVID, wherever we are, wherever we might be. It could be here at Namaste, it could be in whatever room you're sitting in. But there is an adventure of consciousness, an adventure of awakening. And when we choose to engage on that level, an adventure unfolds that we can't even begin to imagine. So Vicky has been there actually with me on many of these adventures, and also seen me off on many of these adventures. I actually left for that trip back in 1995 to Bosnia and Croatia from Vicky's house, the one that she just sold. That's where I launched from. So Vicky, I'd love to hear what you have to share about this adventure. I see Teddy. Vicky, are you out there? Teddy, is Vicky with us?
I'm not sure if she is. She went to do my son a favor and hasn't returned.
She's off on an adventure.
I thought she'd do it from the car if she wasn't here, but I guess not. So I
I'll turn
don't.
it over to you then.
Well, Jimmy, having known you for a while, and my life has been an adventure. I mean, I went from being a drug addict to starting centers around the world for A Course in Miracles, to being sued for A Course in Miracles, winning, and allowing all kinds of people to print anything they want about it. So my life has been an adventure. But as you say, it's like today I find myself in a totally new place. Where, the house is gone, and we're in this apartment overlooking a pool together, and it's like we're here just to rest, to rest in God. And, I find that prospect sort of incredible. I keep on, I keep, before there was stuff going on and it seemed like there was future events that had to occur based on what was going on now. But right now, I wake up every day and it's like there's this funnel that starts in the center of my head and just opens up out, and it's totally clear, waiting for the next thing to happen that I have no idea about, which is really different for me. So this is an adventure, um, and I'm loving it. I don't know what to say. It's as exciting as anything else that has gone on. And it's just being right here, right now, and with the acceptance of this is what's going on, and it's really, really okay. That may have taken a while to learn, but we all come to understand that, in that sense, there is only me in my own mind awakening, and the awakening is a constant process until there is no world that we need to awaken out of. So here we are together and meeting all you guys and joining with all you guys. That's part of the adventure, and I appreciate every minute of it.
Mm. You know, Teddy, you mentioned something that I think is a key part of this, and that is the resting in God. You see, the adventure that draws us out is a feeling of unrest, right? We feel unrest, we feel anxious, maybe holding still, we feel anxious not doing. And so we think we have to go out and we need to do something big. We need to go on some big adventure. And maybe if we go on some big adventure, then we won't feel so anxious, or at least we'll distract ourselves from our anxiety. And that's often what an outer adventure is all about. But the inner adventure begins, as you said, just resting in God and realizing that every moment unfolds as an adventure, even if I'm not doing anything, even if I'm just holding still, or if I'm in a conversation with someone, or going for a walk, holding an animal, whatever it may be. It's all about consciousness. It's all about looking and feeling what is really happening there from a place of rest, as opposed doing it from a place of unrest. Maybe that's the difference between the outer adventure and the inner adventure. What do you think about that, Teddy?
Well, that's definitely true. Um, and eventually the inner becomes the outer. That's all that's what projection is, and that's what extension is. Um, and it's entirely true. Um, you can travel back to heaven just sitting for a second, and that's going to be the most exciting thing that's ever happened to you. So I believe that's true. I think that the idea that we can just rest in God, the idea that we can open our minds and and receive what is there for us, uh, to receive what is given from beyond space and time, is the adventure, because everything here gets to be the same. Everything here gets to be the same. The world is repetitive. The same thing happens over and over again in different forms to try to confuse us, but it's the same thing over and over again. And when it's got our attention, we can't step back and let him lead the way. And that's exciting, letting him lead the way to where we are meant to be, um, in the reality of God and our brothers as one. You know, that happens in an instant when we just step back and rest in God.
And what greater adventure could there be than opening up your eyes and realizing you never left heaven? I mean, seriously, what greater adventure could there be? What greater fulfillment could there be? But it comes from that space of resting, not the anxiety of going and moving. I need to get out and do something. A lot of us are feeling that after a year and a half of working through this pandemic. I need to go out. I've got my vaccinations. I need to go out and do something. Well, maybe, but you're taking yourself with you. You're taking heaven with you. And every moment you have the opportunity to open up your eyes and to see that and to realize that's the great adventure. Not going somewhere, but wherever you are, holding still within that. So thank you, Teddy. Let me just see, did Vicky happen to come in the room while we were gone? I don't see her. Okay. Well, I tell you what, let's close our eyes for a moment and take a deep breath. And let's feel that grand adventure awakening within us today as we choose to rest in God, as we choose to rest in our own divine nature, and to know that the great adventure is unfolding through our consciousness every moment. I need do nothing but welcome. And as we continue to feel that, let's go ahead and we'll sing our chant one more time. I live my life as a continuous adventure. I live my life as a continuous adventure. A continuous adventure. I live my life as a continuous adventure. A continuous adventure. I live my life. Yes. I live my life as a continuous adventure. A continuous adventure. I live my life. I live my life as a continuous adventure. A continuous adventure. I live my life. I rest in God. I rest in God. I will rest now in your holy arms. I rest in God. I rest in God. I will rest now in your holy arms. Sing that with me. I rest in God. I rest in God. I will rest now in your holy arms. I rest in God. I rest in God. I will rest now in your holy arms. I rest in God. I rest in God. Yes, I will rest now in your holy arms. I live my life as a continuous adventure. A continuous adventure. I live my life. I live my life as a continuous adventure. A continuous adventure. I live my life. I live my life.